As the global population races toward the 9 billion mark by the middle of the 21st century, a critical question looms over humanity's future. Can we feed everyone? This isn't just a question of food quantity, but one deeply tied to sustainability, equity, innovation, and political will. The food revolution we need is not simply about growing more food. It's about growing it smarter, distributing it more fairly, wasting less, and changing how we eat and farm in a world facing climate change, soil degradation, and water scarcity. The challenge is enormous, but so is the opportunity for a transformative shift in how the world nourishes itself. Feeding 9 billion people by 2050 will require a 50 to 70% increase in food production compared to 2010 levels. This pressure isn't just about numbers, it's about changing demographics. More people are moving into cities, developing nations are growing economically, and diets are shifting toward more meat, dairy, and processed foods, all of which put strain on agricultural systems. As populations rise and incomes increase, especially in Asia and Africa, the demand for protein-rich and calorie-dense diets surges. This transition places a heavy burden on already stretched food systems and demands that we rethink production, consumption, and food equity. Shockingly, we already produce enough food to feed 10 billion people, yet millions still go hungry. How? The answer lies partly in waste. 1/3 of all food produced globally is lost or wasted. In wealthy nations, this waste occurs mainly at the consumer level. People buy more than they eat and throw out expired items. In developing nations, losses happen due to poor storage, inadequate transport, and lack of infrastructure. Reducing food waste is one of the most direct and impactful ways we can improve global food availability without using more land or resources. Climate change is deeply entangled with food security. Rising temperatures, shifting weather patterns, floods, droughts, and heat waves are already affecting crop yields and threatening the stability of food production. Staple crops like wheat, rice, and maize are highly vulnerable to climate shocks. Furthermore, livestock farming contributes significantly to greenhouse gas emissions, which in turn accelerates climate change. The food revolution must therefore be a climate-smart revolution, one that adopts resilient farming practices, invests in drought-resistant crops, and minimizes agriculture's environmental impact. The world's natural resources are under siege. Over-farming, deforestation, chemical overuse, and monocultures are degrading soils at an alarming rate. 1/3 of the Earth's arable land has already been lost to erosion and pollution. Freshwater, a vital input in agriculture, is being depleted rapidly. In many parts of the world, aquifers are drying up, and rivers are no longer reaching the sea. Without healthy soil and sustainable water use, no amount of agricultural technology can feed 9 billion people. The future of food depends on regenerating land, conserving water, and farming within ecological boundaries. Technological innovation will be central to the food revolution. Precision agriculture, AI-driven monitoring, drones, satellite mapping, automated irrigation systems, and biotech crops all offer the potential to increase yields with fewer resources. For example, sensors can help farmers apply water and fertilizers exactly where needed, reducing waste and boosting productivity. Genetic modification and CRISPR technologies are developing crops that are more nutritious, drought-tolerant, and disease-resistant. While these tools offer promise, they must be used responsibly and equitably to avoid deepening inequalities between rich and poor farmers. In a world with limited land, urban farming presents a revolutionary approach. From rooftop gardens to hydroponic systems and skyscrapers, food production is moving closer to consumers. Vertical farming, which grows crops in stacked layers indoors using LED lights and hydroponic or aeroponic systems, uses up to 95% less water and no pesticides. Though currently expensive and limited to certain crops, advances in automation and energy efficiency are making it more viable. These systems reduce transport costs and emissions while offering fresh, local produce year-round. Livestock farming uses 80% of agricultural land, yet provides less than 20% of the world's calories. It also contributes significantly to methane emissions and deforestation. A shift toward plant-based diets and alternative proteins, such as lab-grown meat, insect protein, and mycoprotein, could dramatically reduce agriculture's environmental footprint. The plant-based movement isn't just a trend, it's a solution. Major food companies and startups alike are investing in meat alternatives that taste, look, and cook like the real thing. If widely adopted, these innovations could help feed more people with fewer resources. At the heart of the food crisis is a structural imbalance. The current global food system favors large-scale, export-driven industrial agriculture, often at the expense of local farmers, indigenous food systems, and nutritional diversity. Smallholder farmers produce 70% of the world's food, but often remain poor and marginalized. Strengthening local food systems, investing in cooperatives, and empowering women, who make up a large share of the agricultural workforce, can boost productivity and resilience. Fair trade, equitable access to markets, and land reform are essential components of a food revolution that is inclusive and just. Feeding 9 billion people isn't just a technological or agricultural issue, it's a political one. Governments must incentivize sustainable practices, regulate harmful agricultural practices, and invest in infrastructure, research, and farmer support. International cooperation will be vital, especially in managing transboundary water resources, sharing agricultural technology, and responding to food crises. Global institutions like the FAO, World Bank, and UN must work hand-in-hand with local governments and NGOs to ensure that progress is inclusive and sustainable. Ultimately, the food revolution depends on people, what we eat, how we buy, and how we think about food. Consumer awareness campaigns, food labeling, and education can influence people to choose healthier, more sustainable diets. Reducing meat consumption, avoiding processed foods, supporting local farmers, and cutting down food waste at home can collectively drive systemic change. Cultural shifts in perception, moving from food as a commodity to food as a shared resource, can reshape global food norms and priorities. Can we feed 9 billion people? The answer is yes, but only if we radically transform our food systems. The revolution required is not about producing more at all costs, but about producing wisely, distributing fairly, consuming mindfully, and protecting the ecosystems that sustain life. It's about innovation and tradition, high-tech tools and age-old wisdom, big data and small farms. The path forward is complex and requires cooperation across borders, industries, and ideologies. But with urgency, empathy, and ingenuity, we can rise to the challenge. The food revolution isn't optional, it's essential, and it's already underway.